Dan, Field, what's up, everybody?
What up?
Also,
Hey.
Adam is here, so we're going to start there because he's got some news to get to, and he's with us all show long. Adam, let's start with the top stories, including another change for the Giants. What's going on there? Actually, start with Lamar Jackson.
Well, Laura, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson.
Sorry.
Today. Yeah, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson, who did not practice today due to knee soreness. Now, the Ravens say it was more precautionary than anything else. They expected he'll be back tomorrow at practice, but it feels like we're always on Lamar watch. And obviously, the Ravens have another big game. They've begun to make up ground on the Steelers, and now we'll see if he can, in fact, make it back for practice tomorrow despite that knee soreness. Meanwhile, C.J. Stroud did not practice today. He still remains out and is in concussion protocol. Right now, it looks like it's tracking for Davis Mills to start again Sunday against the Tennessee Titans with Stroud still in protocol. And keep in mind, the Texans are on a short week after this week. We'll see if he can make it back then. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback, is expected to be limited at practice today, but Kyle Shanahan just said that he's going to be aggressive with Purdy today to see how much he can handle, to see if they can get him ready for Sunday's game against the Arizona Cardinals. So there's a chance on Purdy. We'll see how today's practice goes. If not, another start for Mac Jones. And the news this morning is that the New York Giants are shifting to Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. Jackson Dart is in concussion protocol. With Dart in protocol, Mike Kafka, the interim head coach, has made the decision to tab Winston over Russell Wilson, who started the season earlier on for the Giants. And now Jameis Winston gets to go up against the Green Bay Packers. And Jameis Winston's got to scare any defense because you never know what you're going to get with him. Long balls, interceptions, excitement, fun. Great to watch Jameis. We'll have a chance to do it on Sunday.
I mean, listen, we don't root for teams, but I do root for a post-game press conference after Jameis Winston has won a game. So, 50. Okay, tell him, Dan. Well, that's a prediction. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. Thanks to Adam. He's with us all show long again with more news coming your way. But how about this matchup? The Chiefs heading to Denver this week in an unusual position, right? Third place in the AFC West while the Broncos sit atop the division. Very important game for this team if they want to win the division and even make the playoffs. Crazy to think about. New on NFL Live, though, here's Patrick Mahomes today.
I mean, they're first in the division, and they have a couple games on us. And so it's huge for the division, and that's always our first goal is win the division. And so it's a really good football team. There's no way around it. And so we have to go out there and play our best football, and I don't think we've done that yet. So after this bye, let's go out there, put a great week of practice together, and find a way to win in a hostile environment against a great football team.
Patrick Mahomes is familiar, too, with just how difficult it is to play there, specifically for the Chiefs. Field, how will the familiarity between this Broncos defense and Patrick Mahomes potentially show up in this?
Yeah, you might see his career stats against the Broncos and see 13 wins in 14 games for the Chiefs and think to yourself, this one is going to be in their hands easily on Sunday. But Mahomes has only accounted for 20 passing touchdowns in those 14 games. This Denver defense, new season, new year, but they have been good on defense for the past couple of seasons. And I think this is the best version we have seen of this Broncos defense during this Sean Payton and Vance Joseph era. I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs on Sunday is to be situationally incredible. The Broncos are as good as it gets defensively in the red zone. They have the personnel to do whatever they want on a given play. They want to play man, they want to play zone, they want to rush forward, they want to blitz, you name it, they can do it. They have the dudes at all three levels. The Broncos have allowed the third fewest trips to the red zone per game this season. You don't get there often, and no team has held opponents to either field goals, turnovers on down on a higher percentage of those red zone trips than the Broncos. They tighten the screws when you do get there, which is not all that often in the first place.
It's a bad matchup for the Chiefs offense. And I know that's the dumb thing to say because it's Patrick and this Chiefs offense. Yeah. But no quarterback has made more above the X's and O's big plays this year than Patrick. I think that's one of the things that stands out is like different this year in comparison to last year with this offense. Holding the ball for a long period of time and creating big plays. The problem is that's not what you want to do against this defense. You know, you can look at it there. If the longer Patrick's held the ball, the more explosive pass plays he's created. But you don't want to live that way against this defense. This pass rush leads the NFL in sacks. And so
by a lot.
This thing that this offense and Patrick has done so great this year is the one thing you don't want to do against this defense. I just don't think you can go into this game thinking, live into that world, and then Hawk, you could attest to this past week with no Surtain. What they did was they double teamed the number one receiver, and then they played zone opposite. I could see them doubling Rasheed, playing zone opposite, and really challenging everybody else but that new receiver.
I can see that as well. I think when I look at the Chiefs' offense, and you know, when you saw them against the Buffalo Bills, they were a little disjointed. You know, O-line was kind of patched together. That should be back and improved against the Broncos, which you're going to need because, as you guys pointed out, they're great rushing the quarterback. They're great against the run, and they're great on the back end. But I do believe the Chiefs have enough firepower on the outsides that if they decide to double a Rashee Rice, they have enough weapons to be dynamic down the field. If they can protect Patrick. I would also say in the running game, like, they were in on the Breece Hall, you know, sweepstakes at the trade deadline, couldn't get it done. But I think Kareem Hunt is playing better than you expected at his age. And if they can get just a little bit above expected, they have the horses on the outside to get down the field. Worthy is a guy that can do it. We've seen Thornton do it at times. Juju, Kelsey. If they are devoting extra defenders towards Rice, I think that they have enough, again, firepower to be effective.
Anytime you're playing Denver for the remainder of this season, who are your tight ends and who are your backs? And are those real pass-catching threats? It's by far the best way to go about it. So it has to be a big Kelsey game. It has to be a big Brashard Smith game when it comes to pass catching, because I just don't think you're hold the football, try to push it down the field against this front with that coverage.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Probably not the week to do it, but you mentioned Xavier Worthy. Are you guys surprised that we haven't seen him basically at all this season stretch the field vertically? I mean, he's the fastest player in combine history, and he's like zero in terms of massive plays down the field, like 50-plus yard receptions.
Andy Reid talked about this week that, like, you know, teams are taking him away because he doesn't have the statistics to back up, like, his effect on the game. He has been effective to a point. I think he played the most snaps of any receiver against the Buffalo Bills. And so you're having to account for him. And in a world where you decide to take away Rashee Rice, to your point, that could be the moment where Xavier Worthy kind of, you know, steps up big.
You mentioned the O-line. Another thing to point out is Josh Simmons has been back at practice. Now, there's no guarantee that he would be back in a starting role, but maybe a little bit more depth there. Here's Josh Allen today, one of the single biggest factors when it comes to the Bills' losses this year. He's talking about it right now.
It sucks losing, you know, but knowing in the losses this year that we've turned the ball over, and that's pointing the thumb directly at myself. And knowing that if we take care of the football and take care of what we're supposed to, we're a dang good football team, and making sure that we remember that and realize that. And you know, turnovers are part of the game; they're going to happen. But you know, limiting them and doing whatever we can to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to end every drive in a kick.
Hawk, what do you see as the biggest issue for this Bills offense?
I think there's a lot of issues, and some of them have been the same throughout the season. Josh is holding the ball too long, 3.53 seconds. Average time to throw versus the Dolphins, which is the longest of his career. And that's for a couple of reasons. Number one is play calling. There's not a lot of schemed open receivers when you're watching the film. Number two is the receivers are still having trouble consistently winning down the field. They tried to bolster the group in free agency. It didn't work out. And lastly, Josh is playing at times too risk averse, like not taking the chances and calculated risks that we're used to seeing him do, but also it provides a balance to the offense. So they have to get that fixed in order for them to truly contend for a Super Bowl, which they have the talent to do.
One thing to keep an eye on, tight end Dalton Kincaid did not practice today with a hamstring injury. That could be a big blow. New on NFL Live, here's Aaron Rodgers today and what the Steelers need to fix.
It's just consistency. If the process is right, you know, you don't have to make any major changes or freak out. It's the nature of the league. There's going to be a stinker every now and then. You just got to bounce back, get back to the things you do, and get back in your routine and try and be better the next week.
Dan, how concerned are you about the Steelers offense?
Yeah, I'd be scared coming off of Sunday Night Football, and it's really those third downs. So first third down of the game, who are you going to stop? DK Metcalf. What's he going to run? A slant route. And that's exactly what the Chargers did. This offense is built on efficiency to get to these manageable situations. But the Chargers said, guess what? Early on, DK's not going to beat us on third down, so someone else is going to have to. And then the second option is, well, the next third down in that efficiency world, who do we have to stop? Pat Freiermuth. What's he going to run? A slant. And the Chargers came out defensively and said, because you guys don't have that much talent, we're going to take away DK, we're going to take away Freiermuth, and then that's going to force you to hold the football for another fraction of a second, and we can get after that offensive line. This offense is good. It's built on efficiency. The problem is when you get into a situation against a defense that is very smart and very schematically advanced, like the Chargers, they're going to sit there and go, You only have two people that really scare us on those 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s. We're going to take them away and force somebody else to beat us. And I don't believe the Steelers have that person.
It's a good point. New on NFL Live, you guys, this just coming from Adam Schefter. The Patriots ruled out Ramondre Stevenson and Kayshon Boutte for Thursday night against the Jets. It'll be a big boost when those guys can get back. But something to keep an eye on in a game that is tomorrow, the start of Week 11. Time for Rookie Watch, though. Field, even with those guys out, Drake May wasn't the only player to watch for the Patriots this weekend. Who do you have for us?
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson being out, Laura, means plenty more of Trayvon Henderson tomorrow. And he had his best game of his very young career this past Sunday. He had runs of 55 and 69 yards. We saw that explosive speed that was so often on display during his Ohio State career. This is the kind of player that you want to get out there on the perimeter and for some of those game-breaking opportunities. Also a weapon in the passing game. They play the Jets tomorrow night. Would not surprise me if, once again, we see Henderson play 75% or more of the snaps. Let's stay with the running back theme. And Woody Marsh kind of had his takeover game in Week 10 for this Texans backfield. He played 80% of the snaps, including the first 5 of the game. Now, Nick Chubb was banged up, and they were playing from behind, but Marsh was outstanding once again. He began his college career at Mississippi State, finished up at USC, one of the best pass-catching backs in this past year's draft, but showed once again there's more to his game than just what he does as a receiving outlet for Davis Mills or C.J. Stroud. And then finally, Tyler Shuck. Guy played well this past Sunday. Kind of made an interesting conversation about the Saints and what they should do at quarterback going forward. They get this big win, 17-7 over the Carolina Panthers. Not the kind of numbers that are going to blow you away, but a couple of wow throws, including that one right there and that 62-yard touchdown pass to Chris Olave. Shuck has made the most of his very early opportunities as the Saints starter.
Yeah, it's fun to see. We'll see what he can continue to do, right? There's going to be some other big opportunities.
Yes, indeed. Yep.